Hello everyone, I am Rajeshwari Moganty, Professor at the Department of Biochemistry, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. Now this course is on Biophysics course and the paper is on Foundations of Biophysics. The module we are going to do today is the Introduction to the Biophysics course. Now the Introduction to the Biophysics course has laid out clear objectives. Now what I want to tell you in this is to introduce the current biophysics course contents that are covered in the 32 papers in this course, and also to explain and justify why that each paper is actually included in this course, and also to make the reader appreciate and also you to appreciate that there is an urgent need for studying biophysics. So with that I'll start my introduction. Now as a teacher, I feel that inspiring the students and updating them by engaging the student and teacher community with the latest developments in science is actually an essential part of every teacher. Therefore, it is equally important that we bring together latest techniques and with the experts in a particular scientific field so that we can bring out the discussions on the current cutting edge technologies in science. And therefore this course actually I designed this biophysics course an honest attempt, and therefore to reach mainly the Indian students at college, university level, both teachers and students, to teach biophysics. Therefore what is expected in this course is to bring an interface between the biological, clinical aspects and natural sciences with that of the physical, chemistry and mathematics. So actually in fact I organized one day long seminar where the integration of the teaching and research at AIIMS New Delhi, that actually inspired me to go into a larger community of the biophysics students. Now when we talk about biophysics, it's actually it's actually a subject which is at the crossroads. On one hand you have physics, physical, chemistry, maths, and on the other hand you have biology, science as well as medicine. Therefore a lot of techniques are coming up, latest techniques which are used in diagnosis as well as in the research, and therefore all of them have a lot of basis on the biophysics. They have a lot of foundation on biophysics, and therefore it is very important to teach biophysics, and there is a stimulating need that biophysics is an important course. Therefore it is actually rapidly growing, and there is no classical definition if you want to define the biophysics. But if you want to really put in a simple terms, it is actually applying the physical systems to living, physical methods to living systems. Therefore this is a concise and unifying approach to biological physics, chemistry, biochemistry. Now at this stage, if you ask what is biophysics, it's actually science of physical principles applied to any biological system, be it a biology or a medicine or animal science, agricultural science. So what actually it helps is to understand the microscopic features at intramolecular level to a macroscopic level. So therefore the Biophysical Society, it's an international society, according to that I quote that the biophysics is between the biology and biophysics. So although there are a number of ways to define biophysics, the simplest one given by the Biophysical Society, which is an international society, what it says is the biophysics is a bridge between biology and physics. That is the simplest one can do it, give a definition. But of course biophysics, I would like to clearly mention, is not a subject to be learned by rote, that means by mugging up. It is actually conceptual, very logical, and that is why it's very exciting both to teach for its teacher as well as to learn for a student. Therefore the course actually I have started in this is as a paper 1 is a foundations. Now this is divided into 4 blocks. One is a biology, then chemistry, maths and physics. Now the maths and physics courses are designed in such a way that those students who come with the biology background, they will understand the foundations of physics and maths. Whereas in the other way, that students who are coming from biology background, microbiology, biochemistry, biology, life sciences, they learn the physics and chemistry because their foundations are much old and they need a refreshment. So this is why the course is now primarily biology background for who are not in touch with the basics of physics and chemistry. Now here we talk about the first part of it, physics, where you have Newton's laws of motion, principles of conservation of the linear momentum, time, path, integral. These are the kind of things we actually take you to explain that these are the basics. So this module is actually divided into four basic major branches: physics, chemistry, biology and mathematics. So the physics, the topics involved are the Newton's law of motion, principles of conservation of linear momentum, the time, path and integral forces, central forces, conservative force field, gravitational, as well as the calculation of the field intensity in simple cases. And the concept of the potential, conservation of total energy, equation of the motion of a system with a variable mass are also included in this. Now the rotational kinematics, dynamics are very important, and moment of inertia, elasticity. So these are actually important in terms of the understanding the later classes. So the gas laws are also included, and in case of the mathematics, we have introduced the matrices, the most important, what are the types of matrices, properties, Cramer's rule for solving a system of linear equations. I mean, these you need in later on during the quantum biophysics and all. Hamiltonian equation, eigenvectors. Eigenfactors are very important in the quantum biomechanics. Then you have the multifunctional differential calculus, integral calculus. Although you have done these in perhaps in the school level, but definitely one has to remember them here in this paper, because you will be using them a lot in the coming modules and the later courses. The Stokes theorem and so on and so forth. Now the coming to the biology and chemistry, they are primarily, as I told earlier, that they help the students to refresh their basis or the foundations. And now in this understanding the papers which discuss a lot of biology, therefore those people who are coming with the physics and chemistry, they need to refresh. Sometimes even a cell or the components of cell are very, very important. So these are the courses which are coming in coming ahead in the other papers. Now similarly, even the engineering students who come and take biophysics, or biotechnology students, or with the biology students with microbiology or life sciences, they all need kind of this course introduction. Now as far as biology is concerned, for engineering background students, what is a cell, what is a prokaryotic cell, and how is it different from a eukaryotic cell, what is bacteria, cyanobacteria, animal cell, these are all very important. So we have included so that one can refresh their fundamentals. Again, membrane systems, what is ribosome, polysome, difference between lysosomes, peroxisomes, and connection between the cell and its environment, cytoplasm, nucleus, various other aspects. So it takes you to it takes you a kind of runs you through the basics which you can apply in later on. Whereas in chemistry, we have included all the basics: atomic structure, electron configuration, and how do you do a molecular structure, understanding the bonds. I realize that a lot of students cannot even define a hydrogen bond, and therefore is the reason that we have included all the non-covalent bonds, covalent bonds, and all these things, bond angles, introduction to water structure, hybridization of the orbitals, a number of them. Although you have studied earlier, but when it comes to a later classes, it is often seen that people don't even know what is a bond and what is a chemical bond, what is a non-covalent bond. Now similarly, I have also included in this course the hydrophobic parameters, which is very important, one of the most fundamental property in when you do the biomolecular structures like nucleic acids and then proteins. So we also have these basic things like solutions, aqueous solutions, measurement of pH, Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, and the titration curve. If you have an amino acid with a pK, different types of ionizable groups, not only amino group, a side chain group, and so on and so forth. So these are the chemistry basics. Coming to the paper 2, which is devoted to quantum biophysics. This explains the modern physics and special theory of relativity that postulates the Lorentz equation transformation, length of contraction, time of dilation. This is hardcore quantum biophysics, but at the same time, since you have been now familiar with the basic maths and physics, you should not be any difficulty in understanding this. Planck's theory, and the experts that have written this and made these prepared these modules are actually legends in this and try to explain in a very, very simple fashion. The Schrodinger equation, particle theory, wave theory, and these are the things which are they are dealt in depth in this chapter, that in this paper on paper 2, quantum chemistry, and how the many electron systems are this thing in a very physics point of view, whereas in the previous in basic chemistry you have studied the linear the bonding and all at a preliminary state. Again, in case of this pi electron themed Haeckel and extended Haeckel theory, and they're all, you go into a different level of understanding ab initio calculations which will be needing for molecular modeling structure and so on and so forth. So this is one of the most important and hardcore topics of the quantum of the biophysics. Now similarly, if you go into the further detail, biological recognition, what is a shape complementarity, in determining the computer modeling or a bioinformatic approach for the ligand macromolecule interaction, because no macromolecule actually staying alone. It is not naked. DNA is also not naked. It is interacting with small molecules, water, ions, then you have proteins and plethora of molecules. So these are all very important. Basic chemical methods are also included. Interatomic and intramolecular and interatomic, all these interactions you have to determine by molecular mechanics, molecular dynamics, biomolecular motions, and therefore their use in understanding the interactions is the key component. And the concept in molecular modeling is given in depth, and energy minimization, dynamic stimulation, confirmation and analysis, both at the applications of molecular modeling packages as well as the structural similarity, overlapping of the prediction. These are all being dealt in depth. Now coming to the protein modeling, which is one of the crucial and upcoming areas to determine to design drugs. We have also one paper on the bioinformatics. Therefore, we have included some of these in the paper 2 itself, so that you will be familiar when you go to the bioinformatics paper. Now coming to the paper 3, which is on thermodynamics. Now this course is again thermodynamics. There is no need to tell why a thermodynamics course has to be included, because it is the any biochemical reaction you have to explain on the basis of energy, and therefore thermodynamics is the only one that explains. So we have introduced the open system, closed system, first law, second law, zeroth law, and also understand why it is given zero name, Gibbs free energy, enthalpy. The enthalpy, without enthalpy there are so many reactions that cannot occur. And the third law of thermodynamics, which signifies the hydrophobicity. You are introduced the hydrophobicity term in the paper 1, but only the basic one. But now in the thermodynamic point of view, you will be understanding that what is negative entropy in living systems, what is understanding that the entropy of the universe is changing. Coupled reactions, some of the reactions don't occur, are not supposed to occur in the biological situation, but still they do occur. So how do you explain that? On the basis of the coupled reactions, that one reaction can, by coupling, can make the reaction which is not actually feasible. So the redox potential, oxidation reduction is also one of the main important meta-ion which are taking part in the reactions. Electrochemical cell, contact potentials, galvanic cell, potential of the half cell, electrode potential, Nernst equation, and you will be needing the Nernst equation to use some of the calculations of the numericals will be given at the end of each chapter, and that you will use and determine how a redox potential can be calculated. Therefore, the group transfer potential, bioenergetics is very important. Whatever you learned in thermodynamics, you will be applying to the biological systems to understand the bioenergetics. Now, when it comes to the bioenergetics, nothing but ATP comes into picture. That is called the cell, energy currency of the cell. So that is where we need to understand the whole reaction in terms of thermodynamics as well as the energy of the cell. Now, what are the energy requirements in cell in case of a metabolism, in case of a including the catabolism as well as the anabolism? Now, what is a high energy phosphate bond? Electron transfer potential, what is it, like how it happens in a life and death. Then comes the heat and body, because the heat is maintained by the thermoregulation is one of the fundamentals of the properties of the human body. If the temperature changes, there is no the body cannot survive and can lead to death. So this is one of the these are all dealt in much more detail. Now the paper 4 is the most important, biomolecules. Biomolecules consisting of the proteins, nucleic acids, then the carbohydrates, and then the lipids and so on, and also their interaction between each of them, and also the interaction of each one with other solvent molecules, ions, etc. So here we will introduce you the great Ramachandran plot, which is named after the Indian scientist G.N. Ramachandran, and then importance of the helical conformation, beta sheet structure, and so on and so forth. Now, when you come to the globular proteins, hemoglobin is a classical example which you come across, and then without that you cannot explain the protein structure. So, it will be dealt in 2-3 classes, 2-3 courses. Now, again when you come to the super secondary structures, other than this alpha beta random coil, you have super secondary structures where you have the hairpin structures and so on and so forth. So, the hemoglobin is an actually evolutionary molecule, and the conformation of these fibrous proteins. So far we talked about the globular, now you come to the fibrous proteins, keratin which is in silk, fibers and so on so forth. Then the nucleic acid, the cell survives without, any cell cannot survive without the DNA and RNA and their basic constituents. Then the Chargaff's rule, how the DNA structure has been determined more than 50 years back. Then what are the other conformations of DNA with the circular RNA, circular DNA and the other unusual DNA structures, as well as the RNA. Now carbohydrates and lipids are the basic energy component structures, although they do not have per se any conformation, structural conformation, but they are important because they are the constituents of the cellulose, membrane and so on. Then comes the fatty acids. Again, these are the stored fatty acids, store the energy, and therefore it is important to understand both essential and non-essential amino acids. And then we will see how are they classified, phospholipids, cholesterol, and then you have the other micelles. Again, when you come to the liposomes, we have a number of applications. Liposomes not only as a biomolecular interaction, but also small molecules with the biopolymers. Therefore, the DNA, protein and different types of binding, identical, independent binding site, you have to understand using the biophysical point of view. So, when you have one binding site or two different binding sites, what is a scattered plot and so on will be studied. Now, coming to that, later the topics will be more into a kind of ligand molecular interactions in detail, and you will also study these in later on in paper 9 and 10, how to understand these molecular structures interactions using different techniques. Now you all know that in any living system, the enzymes are the crucial molecule which play utmost important role, because any reaction that has to occur under biological conditions or the physiological conditions, that is very mild conditions, the enzymes help a reaction to occur. Therefore, the whole course is, this paper is on, paper 5 is on enzymes as well as the enzymology and molecular enzymology. So, this will deal with the kinetics of it, to start with what is an order of a reaction and so on, activation energy, and which are the basics for any other reaction. But of course, later on we will talk about the proteins as an example, and then discuss in a number of ways all kinds of equations like the acid base catalysis, enzymes as biocatalyst, because the remarkable properties of the enzymes are used as catalyst. Now the active sites and the 3-point attachment, mechanism of enzyme affection, both flexible enzymes and induced fit, which is a latest hypothesis or the theory that it is not a lock and key system, but it is actually induced fit hypothesis which explains the enzyme function. Now similarly, microenvironmental approach, enzyme dynamics, nomenclature and classifications of the hydrolases, transferases, peptidases, esterases, kinases, ATPase, and so on and so forth. A lot of enzymes, each one has been given a name. From the name itself, you should be able to know what is the function of it. Similarly, the transient states of enzyme catalysis and enzyme kinetics of a single substrate reaction, states of the kinetics, transient phases of the enzyme reactions, and the famous Lineweaver-Burke plot, Eddinghoff plot, and so on and so forth. Now, the enzyme has a different function at a different temperature and pH because its function is dependent on various factors. So, those will be discussed in a very detailed manner. The enzyme activity and turnover of the mechanism, because if you are using enzymes as a commercial purpose, you need to know what is the turnover, and these are the conceptual approaches as been discussed. And of course, the mechanism of the chymotrypsin and riboneurin, which are the classical examples, enzyme regulation, control, and feedback inhibition, how the body actually controls the enzyme function, otherwise the enzymes will be continuously working unless there is a kind of feedback mechanism which is involved inherently in the system. That is very important. Therefore, the protein ATPase, metalloenzymes, each enzyme, its own function has been discussed in detail with their own structure as well as the mechanism. Now, one more important thing is that all the enzymes are not actually proteins. So, you will be discussing abzymes and ribozymes also. The next basic important difference between the enzymology and the protein engineering. The protein engineering is very important because for understanding the thermal stability of these proteins, of these enzymes and denaturation curves, engineering physical and biological properties of the proteins, chemical modification, and so on and so forth. So, this paper is actually on the enzymes and biomedical protein engineering part of it. Now, when it comes to the paper 6, we have included the technique, that is the nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, which is used for the molecular structure, which is to determine the molecular structure. Similarly, the paper 7 is completely devoted to X-ray crystallography structure. So, now the next paper is the radiation biophysics, which will have a lot of radioactivity and different types of, and then also how it is harmful. Then you have the application of radiation in various other techniques. Now, the paper 7 is actually on the devoted to X-ray crystallography, the most and important technique that is synonymous with biophysics course, which uses all structural determines the structure, protein, DNA, and so on, biomolecules. So, this paper is full of detailed technique on X-ray crystallography. Similarly, the paper 8 is on nuclear magnetic resonance technique. Now, the NMR technique is also equally important to determine the molecular structure of a protein or a nucleic acid or any other biomolecule. But the advantage of NMR is that it can be done in solution phase, whereas in protein structure you have to do it in a crystal form. So, the NMR has its own advantages because you don't have the cumbersome method of crystallizing a protein. Like sometimes the membrane proteins refuse to crystallize and therefore you will have problems. So, the NMR actually its own it has equally gained attention and importance as much as the X-ray crystallography. Now, the paper 9 is on the techniques. 9 and 10 actually we have devoted to biophysical techniques, and these techniques are actually the most important. In a number of courses I have seen that the biophysical techniques alone are included as a biophysics, if not the rest of them, and these techniques are also useful in terms of the practical courses you are going to do. So, the paper 9 is on all the biophysical techniques that have fundamentally dependent on the hydrodynamic property. Now, what are the hydrodynamic property dependent techniques? One is the viscosity, then you have centrifugation, anywhere like mass spectrometry and so on. And so, the proteomics is the latest technology we have discussed in depth and in length of both gel based, non-gel based, and so on and so forth. Now, coming to the paper 10, which is on the biophysical techniques based on spectroscopy and light microscopy, etc. So these are, again, you have the absorption spectroscopy, fluorescence spectroscopy, circular dichroism, and also various other techniques like confocal microscopy and so on, which a lot of biological students do use it. Now the paper 11 is actually on the medical biophysics, which actually deals with a number of techniques which are particularly used in the clinic as well as for both diagnosis and treatment. A number of them like X-ray, then you have these techniques which are used in the cancer, positron emission tomography, and so on and so forth. Now the paper 12 is on membrane biophysics, a cell membrane and membrane biology, membrane potential, and using also the nerve impulse transmission, etc. Now paper 13 is on the physiological biophysics, which completely takes you to a different level of understanding the human aspects, human physiological aspects, and make you appreciate that why these kind of pressure, temperature, as well as the mechanics are all applied to the biological, like for example the biomechanics and so on and so forth. Now the paper 14 is on the bioinformatics, which has again a lot of advancements, and therefore it deserves to be dealt in one full paper in the biophysics. Now paper 15 is on the this one, which we deal with the photobiology, and the only paper which actually deals with the what do you call the plant sciences, agricultural sciences, and so on. And for paper 16 is on the cell biology, molecular biology. I am sure that cell biology, molecular biology, a number of all of you have studied in other branches of the on other papers also, but here we will try to give you a more touch of a biophysics approach. And therefore with that I will close this introductory talk, and I'll hope you will all enjoy the course, and as much as I have enjoyed preparing this, and my whole team that has put up a lot of efforts in preparing this, and I thank all the team members who are experts in their own field, and I think we are fortunate to have such legends who are contributing to this course on biophysics. And please enjoy yourself with the whole course. Thank you so much.